Woman takes her old cat to be put down, but learns the truth too late. Cat's letter. Dear Martha, the sun is setting outside your bedroom window, casting long shadows across the quilt you made last winter. I'm curled up here at the foot of your bed where I've spent countless afternoons, watching you fold laundry and listening to those old Carole King records. There's something I need to tell you that I've been holding in my heart for 16 years. I heard you on the phone with Dr. Reynolds yesterday. I heard your voice crack when he mentioned humane options and quality versus quantity. I understand what's coming tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I've always understood more than you knew, Martha. And it's okay. What you don't realize is that I've been preparing to say goodbye ever since my back leg started failing 3 months ago. Cats know these things. We sense the shifting tides of time before humans can see them coming. I never told you this, but I remember every detail of the day we met. It was a Tuesday in October, and the maple trees on Harrison Street were shedding their leaves like they were trying to outrun winter. I was hiding behind the dumpster at Willow Creek Apartments, skinny and scared, my right ear torn from a fight I barely survived. I'd been on my own for weeks after the college students who kept me decided I was too much trouble and drove me across town. The world was so big and loud, Martha. Car engines, barking dogs, the endless whoosh of feet walking past, none stopping for a black cat with mismatched eyes. But then you came along. You weren't looking for a pet that day. You were delivering casseroles to Mrs. Abernathy after her hip surgery. I remember the scent of your chicken pot pie drifting through the parking lot, making my empty stomach ache. When you stepped out of your blue Oldsmobile, you were wearing that navy cardigan with the embroidered flowers, the one you still save for special occasions. You spotted me and stopped, grocery bags hanging from your wrists. "Well now," you said, your voice gentle in a way I hadn't heard in so long. "Aren't you a handsome fellow?" No one had ever called me handsome before. You set down your bags right there on the asphalt and reached into your purse. I was certain you'd walk away like everyone else, but instead you pulled out half a tuna sandwich wrapped in wax paper. "Here you go, little one," you whispered, placing it on the ground between us. "No one should be alone and hungry." I was too afraid to come closer, but you didn't rush me. You just sat down on the curb, smoothed your skirt over your knees, and waited. Patient, like you've always been. When I finally crept forward to eat, you didn't grab me or make sudden movements. You just watched with those kind eyes that crinkle at the corners when you smile. After I finished eating, you spoke softly about how your husband Walter had passed away 6 months earlier, and how your house on Sycamore Lane felt too quiet these days. "Would you like to come home with me?" you asked, as if I had a choice, as if my opinion mattered. That was the first time I understood that you were different. You didn't want to own me. You wanted to share your life with me. When you gently wrapped me in your scarf and placed me in your car, I wasn't scared anymore. Somehow I knew I was going home. You named me Whiskers, simple and sweet, though you gave me a dozen nicknames over the years. Mr. Whisk, Whiskey Boy, Sweet Whisk, Sir Whiskers when I was being particularly regal. That first night you made me a bed from a wicker basket and one of Walter's old sweaters. "He would have liked you," you told me, as you stroked my fur. "Walter always said every home needs a cat to make it complete." I slept for 14 hours straight that night, my body finally understanding it was safe to rest. Our house on Sycamore Lane became the center of my universe. Every corner holds a memory now. Remember the kitchen window with the bird feeder outside? That was my television for years. I spent countless mornings perched on the sill, chittering at the cardinals and finches, while you made your English breakfast tea and hummed along to the radio. You always said I was commenting on the neighborhood gossip, and you weren't far wrong. Those birds knew everything that happened on our street. I loved our routines, Martha. The predictability of your movements gave structure to my days. Every morning you'd shuffle into the kitchen in your slippers, the blue ones with the worn-down heels that you refused to replace because they were perfectly broken in. You'd fill my bowl with food, then stand beside me while I ate, sipping your tea and telling me about your plans for the day. "It's book club today, Whiskers," you'd say, or "I'm meeting Judith for lunch at the Garden Cafe." You always spoke to me like I was part of your calendar, included in your day's agenda. Remember that spring when you decided to plant herbs in the kitchen windowsill? You didn't know I'd nibble the basil when you weren't looking. You blamed the dying plants on too much sunlight, and I never confessed. Or the Christmas you wrapped a catnip mouse for me and acted surprised when I tore through the paper before you could even put it under the tree. You laughed so hard, Martha. The sound of your laughter has always been my favorite melody. Our afternoons were the best part of any day. You in your reading chair by the bay window, me curled on your lap while you worked your way through mystery novels. Your right hand holding the book, your left absently stroking my back. Sometimes you'd read passages aloud to me, especially the ones where the detective figured out the criminal's identity. "Did you catch that clue, Whiskers?" you'd ask me seriously, as if we were solving the case together. I always tried to look attentive, even though I was usually half asleep, lulled by the rhythm of your voice and the warmth of your lap. When your grandchildren visited, I learned another side of you. With little Emma and James, you were playful and silly in ways you never were with your adult children or friends. You'd get down on the floor despite your aching knees to build block towers for me to knock over, much to the delight of the little ones. You taught them to be gentle with me, guiding their small hands along my fur. "Like this," you'd demonstrate, "whiskers like slow pets, not fast ones." You never know how much I appreciated that. Most children are too rough, but yours learned from you how to respect a cat's dignity. The day Emma learned to walk, she toddled straight to where I was sunning myself on the porch. "Kitty," she said, her first word that wasn't mama or dada. You cried then, silent tears while everyone else celebrated. Later, when the house was quiet again, you sat beside me and whispered, "You're family to her too, Whiskers. She loves you, just like I do." I pressed my head against your hand, trying to tell you that I understood the weight of being loved by multiple generations. It's an honor I've never taken lightly. We weathered storms together, literal and metaphorical. During that terrible thunderstorm in 2014, when lightning struck the oak tree in our backyard, you found me hiding under your bed. Instead of forcing me out, you lay down on the floor beside me, ignoring your arthritis, and sang softly until the thunder passed. "We're a team, you and me," you told me. Me, UT. We faced the scary things together. And when your sister Helen passed away 3 winters ago, I stayed on your lap for 2 days straight while you cried and looked through old photo albums. I purred continuously, hoping the vibrations might help mend your broken heart, even just a little. Food has always been our love language, from that first tuna sandwich to the little saucers of milk you'd warm for me when the weather turned cold. You never minded when I begged for a taste of your Sunday roast chicken, even though the vet told you not to give me table scraps. "What's the point of cooking a good meal if you can't share it with those you love?" you'd say, slipping me a morsel when you thought no one was looking. I hope you know that it wasn't just the food I loved, it was the way you'd watch me enjoy it, your face filled with quiet pleasure at my happiness. Over the years, I've watched you tend to every living thing with the same care you showed me. The African violet that's bloomed faithfully on the kitchen windowsill for a decade. The wounded robin you nursed back to health after it flew into the glass door. Even Mrs. Abernathy from next door, whose mail you still collect every day since her eyesight began failing. Your capacity for caregiving seems endless, Martha. I've tried to learn from your example, bringing you gifts from the garden. I know you didn't appreciate the dead mice, but please understand, they were my way of contributing to our household. I've been your silent witness through so many changes. I watched your hair turn from chestnut to silver. I saw the reading glasses progress from occasional use to permanent fixtures on the chain around your neck. I noticed when you started holding the banister more tightly as you climbed the stairs, when you began taking those little white pills each morning with breakfast. Time has marked us both, hasn't it? My once sleek black coat turned peppered with grey, my jumps becoming less ambitious, my naps growing longer. But your love never wavered, not once in 16 years. When your son Thomas suggested you move to that retirement community in Florida 3 years ago, I heard your firm reply, "Whiskers and I are happy right where we are. Thank you very much." You chose me, Martha. Over and over again, you chose me. When the neighbor's dog chased me up a tree and you stood in the rain for 2 hours, calling my name until I found the courage to climb down. When I knocked over your favorite crystal vase, a wedding gift from Walter's mother, and you just swept up the pieces without a single harsh word. When my kidney problems started, and I needed expensive special food, you chose me every single day with 1,000 small kindnesses. Do you remember when I went missing for 3 days during that cold snap in January 2015? You put up flyers all over the neighborhood, walked the streets calling my name until your voice grew hoarse. When I finally dragged myself home, paw bleeding from where I'd been caught in that rusty fence behind the Hendersons' garage. You didn't scold me for wandering. You just wrapped me in a warm towel, tears streaming down your face, whispering, "Thank you for coming back to me," over and over. I wanted to tell you then what I'm telling you now. I will always find my way back to you, Martha. Always. This past year has been harder for both of us. Age is a patient thief, stealing our vigor in such tiny increments that we barely notice until suddenly the simplest tasks become mountains to climb. I've watched you wince when you bend to fill my water bowl. I've felt your hands tremble sometimes when you stroke my fur. But we've adjusted, haven't we? You moved my bed from the window seat to the living room floor so I wouldn't have to jump. I learned to meow louder when I needed you, knowing your hearing isn't what it used to be. We've been growing old together, companions on the same gentle journey toward whatever comes next. 2 months ago, when I first couldn't make it to my litter box in time, I saw the worry in your eyes. You cleaned up after me without complaint, but I heard you on the phone with Dr. Reynolds later that evening, your voice tight with concern. Since then, I've been losing weight despite your efforts with the special food. The medicine helps with the pain, but we both know it's just buying time. Yesterday, when you picked me up and I could feel your ribs through your sweater, I realized we're both just shadows of what we once were. But your heart, Martha, your heart is still as vast and warm as the day you found me behind that dumpster. This morning, when you sat beside me on the couch, gently combing the mats from my fur, I tried to memorize everything about you. The small scar on your right thumb from when you burned yourself baking Christmas cookies in 2010. The silver bracelet with the turquoise stones that you wear every day because Walter gave it to you on your 30th anniversary. The faint scent of Pond's cold cream that always lingers on your skin. I want to take all of these details with me. I want to remember everything. Tomorrow morning, you'll place me in the carrier with the soft blanket, the one with faded blue flowers that used to be on your bed. You'll drive us to Dr. Reynolds' office, your hands tight on the steering wheel, trying to be brave. I want you to know something, Martha. I'm not afraid. 16 years is a long life for a cat, especially one who started out behind a dumpster with a torn ear and no future. You gave me more than just food and shelter. You gave me dignity. You gave me joy. You gave me a place in the world where I mattered. What I need you to understand is that even after tomorrow, I'll still be with you. When the spring sun warms the cushion of your window seat, that's me curling up beside you. When the wind rustles through the maple tree in the front yard, that's me playing with the leaves like I did when I was young. When you feel a sudden, inexplicable moment of comfort in your darkest hour, that's me rubbing against your ankles the way I always did when you cried. Love doesn't disappear, Martha. It just changes form. I know you'll grieve. It's the price we pay for loving deeply, this hollow ache when it's time to say goodbye. But please don't grieve too long. There are other scared cats hiding behind other dumpsters. There are more tuna sandwiches to share. Your capacity for love is far from depleted, Martha. When you're ready, not right away, but someday, consider opening your door again. Not to replace me, because we both know that's impossible, but to extend the circle of care that has defined your life. Before I go, I want to thank you for the little things that might have seemed insignificant to you, but meant the world to me. Thank you for saving the warm spot in the middle of the bed for me each night, even though it meant you had to curl around me. Thank you for talking to me throughout the day, sharing your thoughts and worries as if I could respond. In my own way, I was always answering you. Thank you for taking so many pictures of me and showing them to your friends, pride evident in your voice when you recounted my antics. Thank you for defending my dignity when visitors complained about cat hair on their black pants or made jokes about crazy cat ladies. You always said, "Whiskers isn't just a pet, he's my companion." That word, companion, has always seemed perfectly right. Remember the day you brought home that ridiculous Santa hat for cats and tried to take a Christmas photo of me? I resisted at first, batting it off my head 3 times until you bribed me with treats. The resulting picture, me looking thoroughly unimpressed, the hat slightly askew, still sits on your mantle. You laughed every time you looked at it, and eventually, I came to appreciate being the source of such joy. That's all any of us want in the end, isn't it? To bring more laughter than tears to the lives we touch. When your grandchildren visit after I'm gone, please tell them stories about me. Tell Emma about how I used to bring her hair ties to her bed, one by one, creating a little pile by her pillow like offerings to a queen. Tell James about the time I knocked his toy soldier off the table and then looked so startled when it made a noise that I ran sideways across the room. Tell them I was brave and loyal and sometimes a little bit naughty. Tell them that loving an animal teaches us how to be better humans. These aren't just stories, Martha. They're lessons in love that deserve to be passed down. If you're wondering how a cat could write such a long letter, well, that's my secret to keep. Maybe I dictated it to the cardinal that visits our bird feeder every morning. Maybe I've been learning to type while you sleep. Or maybe, just maybe, this is my heart speaking directly to yours, in the language we've always shared, but never needed words for. The important thing isn't how these thoughts reached you, but that you know how deeply you are loved by the small creature who has shared your home and your heart for 16 years. When Dr. Reynolds asks if you're ready tomorrow, and your voice fails you, it's okay to just nod. I'll understand. When they tell you I'm gone, and the weight of my absence feels too heavy to bear, remember this: I will never truly leave you. Every purr, every gentle headbutt against your hand, every slow blink of contentment, these were my ways of saying what I'm writing now. Thank you. I love you. You saved me, and in your own quiet way, you taught me what it means to be home. I'll be waiting for you on the other side of that rainbow bridge they talk about. Take your time getting there. No rush, please. Live fully. Drink tea by the window. Read mysteries all the way to the last page. Feed the birds. When your time comes, many years from now, listen for my meow. I promise you'll recognize it instantly, just as you did outside the Willow Creek Apartments on a Tuesday in October, 16 beautiful years ago. Forever your faithful companion, Whiskers, P.S. The missing button from your winter coat is under the refrigerator. I batted it there last December and could never quite reach it to bring it back to you. Sorry about that. Some mysteries are meant to be solved.